One of the more unique concepts in Tai Chi Chuan is that your ability to strike or pummel or thrust is not limited to your hands and fist. In fact, there's a saying in Tai Chi, your whole body is your hand. Now in this lesson, you'll learn a kinetic concept known as Zhou, the elbow strike. Very powerful when used properly. So again, take care when applying it to your partner.
Zhou, elbow strike energy. Zhou, elbow strike energy.
Number 1, turn and open. So shift your weight all the way over to that left foot and turn the body, pivoting on that right foot. Now the right toes are turning out about 90 degrees, but most of the weight is on the left foot, about 90%, and only about 10% on that right heel. Number 2, circle the hands in an empty step. So I shift my weight back onto this right foot, step in, bringing the left foot in to touch the ground, but it's empty, only about 10% there. 90% of the weight is on that right foot. Number 3, step out. So the left foot steps out to the side. Remember, that's about a 30-degree angle, but just to the side of the round brown circle in the front of the mat. The heel lands first, and then sink into your stance, pivoting the front toes in slightly. The weight is back on the right foot about 60%, only about 40% into your front foot. Number 4, sink and gather. So while the feet stay in the same position and the weight still remains about 60% on the back leg, you sink down, you get down into it, you coil up to gather the energy, and then turn and strike. So now I'm going to shift forward, and by forward I mean into the left leg, bringing about 60% of the weight into the front foot, 40% of the weight in the back foot. The front toes are turned in slightly and pivot toes in as you complete the stance. And then finally back to neutral, shift your weight back, step back side by side into your Wuji stance, elevate your spine, head floats up, breath comes out, relax.
Zhou, elbow strike energy.
Pass number 2, looking at the upper body techniques, the waist turn, the arms and the hands. So again, even though my feet are moving, just concentrate on what's going on above the waist here. Number 1, turn and open. Rotating with the left leg. My hands are brushing up and down. We're beginning a complete circle, a complete coil. The right hand is coming up, brushing upwards in a clockwise arc, past the right shoulder. The left hand is pushing down near the left hip. Number 2, arms circle in an empty stance. Now here we're actually just completing the already begun circle. The hands continue to circle around. The right hand forms a fist near the back hip. The left hand extending out, elbow bent, palm up. And you're in an empty step by this time. Number 3, step out. The waist relaxes, which means just let go, sink down, step out into your position. And the hands pretty much stay where they are, but rotate slightly to gather that energy. Number 4, sink and gather. You've got a little bit more rotation to the right, sitting down into this right hip like a pin going into the socket. The right elbow sinks down. Very important, get that elbow down. Now number 5, turn and strike. Exploding forward, simultaneously striking with the elbow as the left hand draws in to meet that upcoming arm. And finally back to neutral. You know this part. The hands float out to about shoulder height, step back, then everything floats down, the spine extends, the head floats up, and the feet come together. Now Zhou is a movement that brings parts of your body apart and then with energy and force brings them back together again, an opening and then a closing. So every part of the movement leads up to that moment of explosion. Number one, turn and open. So imagine that the right arm is circling up to catch an opponent. This is part of the opening I'm talking about. Left hand deflecting away at the bottom. Number two, arms circle in an empty step. The arm circling is actually a continuation, a completion of the circle that's already begun. Opening more, stepping up, and notice the synchronization, how the two hands move together as one. Number three, step out and settle. Sink into that right hip. Get yourself calm and collected. Number four, sink and gather. So imagine pulling that left hand. Now, imagine this. Imagine there's a magnet, a powerful force in your left hand, and another one in your right elbow. And the two, in a moment, are going to come together powerfully. So you reach this left hand around like you're kind of giving a hug to your opponent. Gather that energy, and then number five, turn and strike. Pull the two magnets together, releasing them into the end result here. And finally, let it all go. Shift your weight back. Let the hands extend out to shoulder height and float down.
Each time you practice, remain fully present and try to pay attention to your body's sensations.